That's working. Just while we're getting to the last couple of pieces of housekeeping, if you could say hello, tell me where you're from today. Right now, I'm in the Hunter Valley, which is a couple of hours north of Sydney. It's a beautiful spot, and I've been here for a little while now, and I really love it. So, right. Okay, I've got this covered. Right, so we're getting there. We're just coming together right now. Okay, so hello. Okay, Atlanta, Maine, Charleston, New York, Florida, Central Texas, Austin, Hudson Valley, New York. Thanks, Hammer. Okay, Catskills. I know of the Catskills, but never been there. I'd like to do that one day. Delray Beach in Florida. I have been near there. I don't think I've been there, but I know where it is. Miami, certainly been there. Mississippi, I haven't been to Mississippi. It's on the list. Thanks, Kim. Palm Bay, Florida, not been there. Arkansas, now I definitely haven't been there, but I do want to spend some time there. Mims in Florida, Salt Lake City. Hey, Fred. Fred, my assistant's joining us today, everybody. Say hi to Fred. Steve. Dennis is in Virginia, New Jersey, Wake Forest, North Carolina. It's another part of the States I haven't been to, and it's on the list. Okay, and California. Hey, Marty. Okay, San Jose for Ken. Sounds like we've got a good crowd here right now, so I'm going to jump into it. And I know for a lot of people here right now that this is a subject that may be a sore point. And this time of the year, when a lot of people are doing really, really well with their online sales, it can suck. All right. It can really suck big time because you're not selling and you feel like that your art sucks. You feel like that all of this work and money that you've put into your website and all of the time that you've invested so far isn't paying off with results. Now, I wanted to talk about that because I think it's a really important point, and a lot of people, it's not that you're setting yourself up for failure, but a lot of people are having unrealistic expectations, or they've been given, perhaps promised something that's unrealistic. And I just wanted to talk through some of the things and help you identify that really it's not that things suck, is that the things are taking longer than you expected them to. Things are harder than you expected them to. And I certainly have learned those lessons. Now, this is it's 2021. It's my 8th year in business, going into my 9th year in business selling online. And I've been with Art Storefronts now for about 3 years, or 3.5 years maybe. So I've got a lot of time under my belt. I've made a lot of the mistakes that you are perhaps making at the moment, or I have been frustrated by the things that you're frustrated with right now. So I wanted to talk through them and explain where I think you're at and where I think the future is as far as where you're going. And just breaking down some of these things that may be right now sticking points for you and making it really hard for you to go on. And I've seen comments from people. I've even had a couple of emails from past or existing clients who said, listen, I just want to throw in the towel. I've had enough. It's too hard. All right. So I don't want you to do that. And what I want to do is talk you through some of the things I think are really important. And then how do you plan to make Q4 next year, 2022, bigger and better than what you're at right now? So let's start with the first one. You have failed. You've sold nothing else all year. And these people who are selling and telling people about it, for instance, on Art Storefront Small Wins, it feels like it's just rubbing it in your face. Okay, so let's break that down for a second. If you've sold nothing all year online, then the chances are that you're going to sell nothing in Q4, right? And that's not being rude. That's not being, too direct or anything. It's just like, you can't build on zero and multiply zero, right? Yes, you can build on zero. You can make 0, 1, then make it 2, make 3, make 4. But if you're starting with 0, then you can't multiply that. So my expectation is that in the first 9 months of the year, I sell X number. And then in the last 3 numbers, I sell that number again. So essentially I do 2 times what I've done in the first 9 months for the whole year. So I double my income in the last quarter, right? Now that's having spent the last 8 years building up on it. And in the case of Nat's business, the last 2.5 years building on building, right? So my expectation is to double in the last quarter. But if you're doubling 0, then your only expectation should be to get from 0 to 1 sale, okay? Now, if you've started in the last few months, then that's not going to happen. Let's be realistic, right? I know, having done this, what I'm doing now with other artists, I've been doing this now for 2.5 years. And what the experience tells me and what I see as results from actual people, not people just telling me random stuff, is that the first year, you sell practically nothing. And that was my experience. I didn't sell a single thing online in my first year online, right? I sold 2 prints, and they're actually to a friend who is now a neighbor. And that was my first year in business. So I sold 2 prints in total in my first year of business, right? 0 prints online. So the reality is, for a lot of people, that their expectation is you get a brand new website, everything looks really cool. They spend all this time making it look really funky, worry about all the little things that really don't matter, like colors and things like that. And then they expect to turn it on and start making money. It's just not how online sales work, right? You need to find an audience. You need to build a relationship with that audience. And over time, people will buy. So if your website has just gone online in the last 6 months, then for Q4, you should sell nothing. That's not being rude. That's not being anything but being direct and being realistic. Your first year, you will not sell anything. If you do, it's luck. It's not through things that you've done, certainly in the last few months. It's just that maybe you found people who've been around for a while and they're going, oh, I want to buy something from this person now because I'm seeing they've got a website. That's cool. But the reality is that your first year online, you should sell nothing. If you do, that's a bonus, and accept it as a bonus and move forward from that. So your second year online, your goal is to grow from wherever your base was. So let's just say you sold 2 pictures. You sold $1,000 worth of art. Then my goal for year 2 would be to sell at least $1,000 worth of art in the first 9 months, and then maybe another 1,000 or 2,000 in the last quarter. But it takes time, and I really think that time is one of the most underestimated things related to selling art. Time is so important, and it's all about building relationships, and the relationships can't be underestimated in any way, shape, or form. But we'll come back to that. Right, so let's move on to point 2. Your art sucks and no one will ever buy it. Now, Patrick from Art Storefronts taught me this lesson a few years back. And when people ask me this question, it's a really simple barometer. If you think your art sucks and no one will buy it, let's take it back a step. Have you ever sold your work, right, whether it's last week or in the last 5 years, to someone who isn't related to you and to someone who isn't a close friend, right? If the answer to that question is yes, and most likely that's going to be have been face-to-face, then you've passed that hurdle. Your art doesn't suck. You just haven't found your audience yet. And the thing is, you've got to find your audience, and you've got to build a relationship with your audience. So then again, that's that time thing. It takes time to find your audience. It takes time to build a relationship with your audience. So it's not that your art sucks. It's not that you need to go and throw it all in the bin and start from scratch with something completely new. You just need to find your people. Okay. So I'm not going to say any more about art sucking, but that's really, really important. You spent $5,000 on your website, and some people have spent less, some people have spent more, but let's just say you spent $5,000 on your website and nothing's happening. All right. My answer to that is, what are you doing to make things happen? Okay. I tell all of my clients that they must do two things, right? And those two things are really simple. We must post on Facebook every day, and you must send an email to your email list at least every second week. That's not hard, right? The people that come back to me in 6 months' time, 12 months' time and say, John, it's not working. And I have a look at the Facebook page, and then I have a look at how many emails they've sent in the last 6 months. And they've been posting sporadically. Maybe they'll post every day for a week, and then they won't post anything for a month, right? Or they send an email, then they don't send an email for another 4 weeks, and then they send one, and then all of a sudden they send 5 emails related to a sale they're having, right? So you've not emailed everybody the whole year. You haven't romanced them. You haven't built relationships with them. And then all of a sudden, okay, it's Black Friday sale. I'm going to hammer them. I'm going to send them 10 emails in the next week, right? That's not going to work. It's just not, right? And if you think that's going to work, then you need to stop and have a good hard think about what you're doing. Because the reality is, if you don't want to do those daily steps, those weekly steps, then yeah, you probably have blown $5,000 on a website because you're not putting the work in. And I know it can seem like there are a million things you've got to do, but honestly, I believe the only two that really, really matter is that daily post on Facebook, and that weekly, or at least every second week, you send an email. Okay, so we will come back to that in a moment, but they're really, really important. And the other thing that I hear people saying is that they've spent so much time on marketing, they've got no time or energy left to create, right? Or they have a day job, then they have to spend 5 hours a night, every night doing marketing, and then they don't have any time left to paint or take photos, whatever it is that they do, right? The reality is that if that's the case, then you're doing too much of the wrong thing, or you're focusing on the wrong thing. You do not need to be spending 5-8 hours a day on marketing. You need to spend 1 or 2 hours a week really focused on the key tasks, and then a little bit of time each day on the relationship side of things. Okay, we'll talk about that. So let's go back. You haven't failed, even if you've had no sales, right? Just accept that. You're just not ready yet. Or you've set your expectations incorrectly. You've started your website in the last few months. You've done all of that work. You've spent all this time getting up and running. Now you just want the money to come in, and there's no money coming in, right? The reality is you need time, and you need to build your audience. If you don't have the time or the audience, then nothing else is going to work, but you have to have both. So you have to find the audience first. And by audience, a Facebook following is good, and Instagram following is nice. But the thing that really matters is your email list. That's the thing that pays the bills. Okay. So if you spend time on your email list and build relationships with your email list, then the sales come. Now, I'll give you a really good example of that, right? Now, I shared this in Small Wins, but I'll share it again. So Natalie's business, right? So going really, really well. It's a 6-figure art business right now. Last week on Wednesday, we launched our Black Friday sale, and we did it in 2 ways. So we had, for all of our existing customers, so people who've purchased before, we gave them a 30% off coupon code. For people who are on our email list but had never purchased before, we gave them a 25% off coupon code, right? Basically as a thank you to the people who support the business. So we sent that out, but we only gave them 5 days. We did $12,000 of sales in those 5 days. We didn't spend any money on advertising. We didn't do any, we did 1 Facebook post, but really the focus was the email list. And we sent 3 emails on those 5 days, right? 1 announcing the sale, giving them the coupon codes, 1 giving them a reminder, and then 1 in the final 24 hours, right? So $12,000 worth of sales in 5 days, purely from the email list. No organic traffic at all from that $5,000, okay? So that's really, really important. And that's why I'm saying that email list is so important. But every week we send out an email, and 99% of those emails are romance ones. And this week, even though we launched the public sale, so we're now going back to 20% off. So we're still offering 20% off for the next 2 weeks. But the public sale is open to everybody, including people that are already on the email list, but they don't get the 25% or 30% off coupon codes anymore. They have to only use the 20% off. That public sale we announced in the email on Monday, but we also then spent the rest of the email romancing them, showing them Natalie's latest work. So it was all, the sale was part of the message, but the focus was on the romance. Okay. And we've switched straight back to that romance. We will do some romance heavy emails in the next 2 weeks of the sale, but we'll also do some sales heavy emails, because we know that the next 2 weeks is the final period really to avoid shipping delays before Christmas, all that sort of stuff. That's our focus. How many people on the email list? Nancy, great question. Right now, over 16,000, coming up on 17,000. We spent the last 2.5 years spending money every month growing that email list. Okay, right now we're spending $1,000 a month on advertising. It's not just on growing the email list, because we have such a big email list. We're also doing some remarketing and some different levels of marketing related to different sales points for people. But the point is that we're at the point where we've been marketing and building relationships with these people for a year, 2 years, 3 years. Okay, so they're not people. We're not trying to sell necessarily to someone who signed up to the email us in the last few months. It just doesn't work generally. Okay. Just been asked, do I do romance marketing during the sale, and do I do them within the sales email or separate email? I'm doing a bit of both. So this week, the Monday email was a romance email announcing the sale as well, but it was about methodology in Natalie's artwork. It had some progress shots and a couple of videos, all of that. So the sale was the secondary message in the email. I will do some follow-up emails, which will be specifically just about the sale, because I know, like on Sunday, we sent out a final day of sale email. And as soon as that email went out, my phone started pinging with payments from PayPal and Stripe. So we know that those emails are really, really important. So we will do some sales related emails, but we will focus on the romance as well. The thing is, like we're at a point where we've got a mature and large list. So if you don't have a mature or a large list, then doing a lot of these sales related emails is hindering you, not helping you at the moment. Okay, it's a good exercise to run a sale. It's not a good idea to smash your audience if you've got a really small audience every day for a few days, telling them about a giveaway. Yeah, Dennis, you can do whatever you like. So we specifically had 3 coupon codes this Black Friday. We had a coupon code for our existing customers, which was 30% off. You had a coupon code for our subscribers, which was 25% off. And now we've shifted, and that was only for 5 days. And now we've shifted to a public coupon code, which anybody can use, which is only 20% off. So we've given an extra bonus to our cold and our warm people. To our warm people and our customers. So yeah, we do. So the question was, do I run warm ads during a sale? I do, but I've got a big enough list to do that. For the majority of people here, then there's no point running warm ads right now. Okay, so let's just keep moving. Right, you struggle to do everything. Now, this is a really common complaint that I hear from artists that come to me for help. Now, the reason they come to me for help is because they've looked at the advice that they're getting from art storefronts or from elsewhere, and they've got to do 500 things in a week, right? So they get to that point where they're spending 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 hours a day just marketing and not spending any time creating, all right? I don't think you need to do hundreds of things. What I think you need to do is do a few things really well. Okay, so those few things really well is what I've already said. Do a daily Facebook post, incorporate links to specific products or specific galleries in your store in those Facebook posts. I don't care whether Facebook gives you less exposure for those posts. It's better to get less exposure than no exposure and get no traffic to your website. The whole point of Facebook is to use it as a tool to drive people first to your website and then to be potential customers. It's an advertising tool. It's a marketing tool. It's not the be all and end all of your business. So don't worry about what Facebook thinks. Just follow their rules. Like, don't post nudity, those sorts of things, and instead focus on building your business and using Facebook as a tool. Don't do everything. Do the key things that matter. Daily Facebook posts and that regular email at least every second week, right? And we've talked about this already. And as long as your art has been sold to someone else, right? Ideally a few people, but certainly people who aren't related to you, people who aren't good friends of yours, but they've seen your work and go, oh my God, I've got to buy that. That's all that counts, right? It's not the art that sucks. It's probably your marketing that sucks. Okay. And that comes down to you trying to do everything or trying to find the next big thing. Right. And that's another distraction. You know, I'm sure many of you heard me talk about this before. There are so many shiny new things that we can get distracted by as artists. Forget the shiny new things, right? The things that work right now that help you grow a business is your Facebook page as a tool for communication and for advertising, and your email list. Most important asset of your business, apart from your actual work, is your email list, right? Okay. So if this is your first Black Friday sale online, right? And I mean online, because I know there are artists out there who have been selling for 20 years. And I know there's a couple in the room today, been selling their work for 20, 30 years, no problem, face-to-face or through commercial opportunities and that sort of stuff, right? Those last 20, 30 years make a difference to your craft. They don't make any difference to your sales. And that's a real hard truth that some people struggle with. The reality is going online for the first time is like starting from scratch again when it comes to marketing. People online don't know who you are. You need to tell your story. You need to get people to know you. Okay, so if this is your first sale online, then set your experience as a learning experience, right? It's really good practice to go through the steps. It's really good to get your head around all the really important things that relate to a sale when it doesn't really matter if you bugger something up, okay? Because this is good practice. If you don't have a big enough email list or you haven't been in this game for long enough, then this is practice. This is experience. This is important for you, but it's experience, okay? You need to have time and momentum on side. Your email list needs to be at least 1,000, ideally 2,000 or 3,000 people before you're going to see momentum. Okay. But then again, it's time. How long have you been doing this online? Now, I know some of the people here will say, I've been doing this for a year, or I've been doing this for 18 months. Right. And if that's the case, then as far as I'm concerned, your time is coming. You're almost there. You can't give up. I remember being at this stage myself, having been in the business for 12 months, 18 months, still not getting any regular sales online. And, you know, my wife said to me, she says, like, how do you consistently get up every morning, keep doing the work, keep putting the effort in when you know that you're not bringing in any income? And I'm like, I know that I believe in my work. I know that people will buy my work. I've just got to put the hard yards in, and the time will pay off eventually, right? 8 years down the track, my art and the work that I'm doing in the art space is paying my bills. It's giving me the opportunity to do other things, right? So it takes time. So let's keep going. So how long have you been doing this online? Again, if it's under 12 months, then it's not a guide. Okay. The first year is practice. It's learning. It's finding your feet. So don't expect to sell a lot in the first year. And even the second year, it's going to be tough, right? And it's for some people, it's the third year even, it's tough, right? But the reality is it's that time, the effort that you put in every day, every week that makes a huge difference. And the other thing that's really important, and a lot of people struggle with this, if you've been doing this for 2 years and you still have less than 1,000 people a month visiting your website, then you need to stop and take heed of what's happening on your website. How are people finding your website, and how are you marketing your website? Because 1,000 leads, 1,000 visitors a month to your website is the absolute minimum you need to start building a business. All right. So if you're not getting that 1,000 people a month visit your website, then you need to look at the other pieces of the puzzle and see what is and what isn't working. Okay. We on Natalie's website get somewhere between 6, 7, 8, 9,000 visitors a month. Right. It's a huge volume of people. And honestly, I think our conversion rate from volume of traffic to customers to sales is probably a little low. It's sitting around 1.5%. I'd like to see it at 2 or 3%. Right. But that's one of the things that I'm focused on building in the business, is increasing that volume of sales so that we can keep growing the business, because we have big ambitions for this business. But the reality is, in the short term, it's paying its bills. We're making a profit every month, and we're able to grow the business by investing some of our money in marketing. But for a lot of people, when you're starting from scratch and you're not earning any money, you're spending all of this money, you're putting the money in the pot and hoping to get a return. And honestly, I can tell you, I know exactly where you've been. I wasted tens of thousands of dollars. There was a time when my company owed me multiple 6 figures, right? That's no longer the case. The company has well and truly paid me back all of that money, right? But it took a long time. So don't give up. Right. So we've talked about this, but I just want to run through it. So does your art suck? For 99% of you, the answer is no. Okay. And don't think it is your art, right? But you can verify it really simply. Have you sold your art in any way to someone who is not related to you or not a close friend? If the answer is yes, then your art doesn't suck. You just haven't found your people. Now, the other thing, which I think is a really important note to come back to, and I've had this conversation a number of times in the past year, and probably a few times before that, is someone comes to me and says, John, I need to make money right now. Can you help me? And my honest answer is no, I can't help you make money right now. I tell my clients, I tell the people that I work with, the one guarantee I can give you is that in the next 6 months, and potentially even the next 12 months, I'm not going to make you a single cent, because what we're doing is investing in the long term. Okay. And building those relationships so that you can scale the size in the long term. If you need to make money right now, then you need to do art fairs, markets, face-to-face selling, because online is not going to pay your bills immediately. Okay. Online is a long game. But the beauty of online, and I've got this here, the beauty of online compared to face-to-face. All right. Now, face-to-face is much easier to sell because you can stand in front of someone, you can have a conversation, you can see each other's facial expressions, you can see the hand movements, you can get whether someone's on your page, right? You can build a relationship really quickly, and you can move someone to a sale even in a few minutes sometimes. Okay. The problem with face-to-face is it's not scalable. Right, there's only so many markets you can do. There's only so many art fairs you can do. There's only so many days that you can stand on your feet for 12 hours talking to random strangers, right? And it's hard work. It's really, really hard work. It's not scalable. Online is scalable, right? Because you can literally talk to thousands of people at a time. But the problem with online is it takes heaps longer. Right? 6 to 12 months at the minimum for a newbie. So if you need to make money today, then you need to go and do art fairs, markets, those sorts of things, right? Face-to-face sales. But in the meantime, work on your online stuff, because in a couple of years' time, the online could be paying your bills without you needing to go and do those face-to-face markets and things like that. Okay. Now, I know you guys have all heard me say this a million times, but the most important thing in marketing your art is relationships. The most important activity you can do on a daily basis is build relationships with your fans and followers, right? Reply to every single comment on Facebook and Instagram. Engage with those people. Reply to every single email that people send you. Every single email, right? And if it's personal and it's something that's a little bit, you know, we get emails that are really touching, really open every day, right? And sometimes they're really draining. But just think of it this way: is that, you know, when someone tells you a story that's important to them, they're sharing and they're wanting to build a relationship with you, right? And that relationship is the potential to take them from being a fan to being a customer. Okay, so take the time to reply to those emails, and don't reply with a canned response. Don't send everybody an automated response. Take the time to reply as a person, because this is your opportunity to build a relationship, right? And the relationships sell art. Full stop. Say it again. Relationships sell art. Websites don't sell art. Facebook pages don't sell art. They're just a tool to help you build relationships. Okay. So if you're not spending time building relationships, then you're not going to sell art. Okay. So let me just jump into the questions for a second, because I've seen there's a few questions up there. So let me start with, okay, Carol, I'm not even going to go near NFTs. I don't think NFTs are the space for most people right now. They're an interesting distraction. So I'm not even going to touch that. Okay. Yeah, so Nancy's asked, with the daily Facebook post, do I write a little bit about the image and then include a link? So our practice is that every second day we include a link. So every day we'll include an image and a comment about the image. Every second day we include the link directly to that product in the store, in the Facebook post, okay? Or if it's a series of images, let's just say I had 3 or 4 sunrise shots, then I would link to my sunrise gallery, okay? The idea is that you want to make it as easy as possible for people to buy stuff, right? So every time you ask them to go here and then click on this and then do this, you're wasting their time. If you can take them straight to something and make it easy for them to buy in 1 or 2 clicks, then do that. Make it easy for people. Don't give them extra hoops. Don't make things harder than they need to be. Okay. And that's something that I learned, certainly it was over 2 years ago now. When I started doing giveaways, I used to have these really complex things using Facebook chat and different apps. And I'd ask them to follow me on Facebook and follow me on Instagram, and then invite 3 friends and tag 3 friends and do all these other things. Right. And to me, you know, I had all of these steps in there, overcomplicated things, when all I really cared about was their email address. So now we ask for their email address and their first name and nothing else. We don't ask them to do anything else. We don't send them extra information. We just say, can you give us your email address and your first name in return for being in the draw to win this prize? Okay, simple. Now, I was asked a question which I skipped over earlier. I'm going to just jump back to that. John asked, can we do gift cards instead of giving away print? You can, but I think that it's better to use the art and a single image to attract people than a gift card. You can try it. I would think that you will get better responses from an actual print than a gift card. That would be my experience. Okay, Camilla, the answer is the traffic coming? She's saying, is the traffic coming mostly from ads or from other sources? These days, most of our traffic, there's certainly a good portion of our traffic comes from ads, but most of our traffic comes from email, right? So from MailChimp, it comes from people just Googling, and it comes from people connecting in other ways. The ads is probably 25, 30% of the traffic, but it's certainly not the majority of the traffic. Dennis, send me that as an email and I'll send you instructions as far as how to find the number of visitors. Okay. Mark, that's an awesome 6,300 visitors per month. That is fantastic. The trick is to convert those into more sales. Absolutely. So Camilla, this is an interesting question. I'm going to go with that because it's a really interesting question. So Camilla's in her first 18 months, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, online. So she's asking how closely should she follow the sales calendar for the advertising and of the sales and all of the flash sales related to that. Personally, I would dial it back, right? I think that when you're in your first year or two, you definitely need to have a sale, but I think sending a dozen emails or doing something every day and hammering people is unnecessary when your audience doesn't have momentum, right? If you're not already making sales before you got to the sale, then chances are you're not going to be making a lot of sales during a sale. So you're not going to get a lot of people buying. So I would do the basics of a sale, but I wouldn't put a lot of effort into it unless you're returning income. Okay, Dave, that's a hard question to answer. Dave's asked what I consider fine art paper. The reality is I have different access to different papers here. So the thing I think that every artist should do is choose the paper and the mediums that work best with their work. And the best way to do that is to order some samples and try it, right? I'm using the same paper that I started using 9 years ago. I very rarely have to shift from that, and I only have to shift from that when it becomes unavailable. So I think you find the best that works for your work and stick with it. That would be my advice. Okay, so keep it simple. For the majority of the year, right? So outside of Q4, outside of when you're running a sale, 90% of the time you shouldn't be trying to sell. Now, let me explain that, right? I learned this, and it's so counterintuitive, it's not funny, but I learned this the hard way, and it's something that's really stuck with me. And I think it's one of the most important lessons I can impart on you as an artist trying to sell your work. All right. The best way to sell your work is for you to build a relationship between you, the art, and the potential buyers, right? And the best way to do that is to tell stories, right? You have to build trust. If you don't have trust, it doesn't matter what the discount is. You could have, 50% off. You could have 70% off, and you still won't sell stuff if people don't trust you. And that works both ways too. If you had 70% off, people aren't going to trust you because they think, my God, how can they afford to give a 70% discount? All right. I think 30% is right at the upper limit of what you should discount. I don't like discounting any more than that. And I do my very damnedest not to. We did it for 5 days only. And, the results worked really well. Initially, after we switched from the 30 and the 25% discounts, we had a slowdown period, but started to pick up. We had, $1,000 order come in last night, which is fantastic. So the key is relationships. The key is to not try and sell. So for the rest of the year, when I'm not having a sale, and we only run 3 sales a year. So we run Mother's Day, and we run Black Friday, and then we run one other sale usually in August or something like that, right? We don't run sales every month. We run the 3 sales only each year. The rest of the year, we're focused on romance, telling stories. Natalie and I have been working together now for 3 years. And one of the things that I ask her to do every time she paints a new work is to try and get as many progress photos and videos as possible during the work, right? So she sets up her phone on a tripod and does like a time lapse, or she'll just take a photo at the end of the day with her phone. And she just sends me those videos. I turn those videos and progress photos into an email every week. Right? And that stuff pays the bills because people are getting to know the work, right? So simple things like that make a huge difference. So if you can share your process and demystify the art creation process, that makes a huge difference between you and connecting with your audience. Okay. So tell the stories. And as a photographer, it's a little bit harder. One of the things I like to do when I'm out shooting, my favorite thing is shooting sunrise on the beach. Right. So I've got my camera set up on a tripod and I'm usually taking a photo. I've got the camera set up to take time. So one of the things that I do is I'll then step back from the tripod and take a photo with my phone to show people the scene with the camera in front of it, right? And that's part of the storytelling as well. So you do what works for you. If you hate standing in front of the camera, stand behind it and tell the story with the art piece in front. Right? You don't have to stand in front of the camera. Do what works for you. Okay. Facebook Lives are fantastic, but if you struggle standing in front of the camera, don't do it. Okay. Fred's just shared the link to Natalie's website. Yeah, you're welcome to join the email list if you want to. Certainly that business right now, it's 2.5 years online in its own right, and it's absolutely a 6-figure art business, and that's only prints and calendars and cards. We don't sell any originals through Natalie's website because she has an existing relationship with a gallery and she does a lot of commissions. So this is only prints and cards. We're doing 6 figures. Okay, so let's come back to this. So the key activities, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. You must post daily on Facebook. Right? If you've got time, you can do Instagram, you can do LinkedIn, you can do Pinterest. I don't care what the other things are you do, but you must do Facebook first. Facebook is the most important place for you to sell, to market your art, because there's more buyers on Facebook than anywhere else. Right? TikTok is really cool, but TikTok, the majority of the people that are on TikTok are under 30. So they're not necessarily customers to start with. We don't even market to anybody under 35. And 2/3 of the people on TikTok are in China or India. Now, if China or India isn't a big part of your marketing strategy, then why are you wasting your time on marketing to people on the wrong side of the world? Okay, we only market domestically. We market here in Australia only, right? We have customers from around the world. They find us. We don't market to them. They find us. Okay, that email. Now, I have heard, I don't know how many times I have heard from people, I'm too busy to write my email. I haven't had a chance to write my email. I don't get to the email. It's not on my priority list, right? Let me say this unequivocally. The most important art marketing activity you can do every single week is write that email and send it, right? If you can't work out MailChimp, find someone to help you, right? It's not that hard. Just do it, because it is the most important thing. It's the thing that brings the dollars in more than anything, is that weekly email. Building relationships with your audience, telling stories about your work. That's so, so important. So if you do nothing else, you must send that email. Okay. Right. Kelly, that's a really interesting question. So personal photos of your family, unrelated to your landscape artwork, you're right. But I think there's an opportunity to link the two. I wouldn't do a lot of it. But, you know, for instance, earlier this year, I went away on a camping trip with a big group of friends. It was 20 of us went, and it was a big road trip. And then we spent a week on a sand island. And so I shared that to my audience because I wanted them to know, A, that I was off the grid for a week, but B, telling them a story about, you know, the new pieces that I created while I was there on my holiday. But, you know, I'm connecting my family and my friends to my work. I'm not just doing it independently. And I think the key with that is not to be too heavy on the family stuff, right? Tell the stories and relate it to your work. And if you can do that appropriately, then do it. Absolutely. Okay. Right. Scheduling your posts. Now, this is one of those things that people say, I don't have time. Every day I'm trying to find time to write a post for Facebook, and it's all too hard, right? So schedule your posts. And what I found, and you know, this is something Fred helps me with. One of the things that I've found is the best way to do a week's worth of Facebook posts is just sit down for an hour and do a week's worth of Facebook posts, right? If you do them in one go, you can knock them over in an hour easy. If you try and do one each day, there's a good chance it might take you 10 or 15 minutes a day. That's going to double or triple the amount of time it takes you to do a week's worth of posts. So sit down and schedule them. And you can schedule for free up to 4 weeks in advance using Facebook's Creator Studio, which allows you to post to Facebook or Instagram. Okay, that's free. You don't have to spend any money on Later or Hootsuite or anything else. It's free. You can post to up to 4 weeks in advance to Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so it's called Facebook Creator Studio. If you don't know the link, I don't know whether I've got the link here. Let me see if I've got it. If I have, I will send it to you. No, I haven't got the link here in front of me. Let me find it. It might take a second. Right, so Facebook Creator Studio, if you're not already using it, honestly, it is a brilliant tool. It's free. It costs you nothing to use it. And it makes life so much easier when it comes to scheduling. All right, so this is how you get to Facebook Creator Studio. And that allows you to schedule. All right, so it frees up time, trust me. Doesn't sound like it does, but it does. Okay. Emailing your audience. We've talked about this. So important. One of the key things that I found is not just to be consistent and send it every week, but I send it at the same time and the same day of the week every week. Right. So for Natalie's email, it goes out at 9:45 every Monday morning. Okay. 9:45 our time, which obviously for people around the world, it's going to be slightly different. But for the majority of people, they're here in Australia. It comes at exactly the same time every week. Okay. So pick a time, whether you do weekly or every second week, I don't care, but pick a time, pick a day and be consistent. Right. You might need to experiment to find a good time where more people open. But the reality is what you need to do is be consistent, and you will find when you're consistent, more people will open. Okay. Don't get distracted. Now, I know from the correspondence that Fred and I get every single day and the things that I see in Art Storefronts' Small Wins group, that so many people are getting distracted and they're dropping the ball with the things that matter. Okay. So this is my plan for you. Keep it simple, right? You have to do your daily Facebook posts and your weekly email before you do anything new. Okay. And when you decide to do something new, do one new thing. Don't do 10, don't do 100. I see people that are trying to fit in 50 new things in a week. Who's got time for that, right? Just do one new thing and see how it goes. If it doesn't work, right, try it again. If it doesn't work after a second try, don't do it anymore. Okay, you haven't got time. You need to focus. So do the things that really matter first. And then if you've got some time, try something new, one new thing. Don't try 10. Okay, be consistent. It's the cumulative effort that pays off. It's not one single thing. There is no silver bullet that you can find by searching Google, doing SEO, doing Facebook ads, doing anything. There is no silver bullet. The only silver bullet is consistent daily effort every day, every week for a year or two. That's going to deliver you results. And if you're not done that, you can't say that it's not working. Okay. It really takes that long-term effort to get the results. Now, engaging with your audience is just as important, right? So what do I mean by engaging, right? I have seen people that stalk their followers. Someone follows them on Instagram. 10 seconds later, they're sending them a DM. Don't do it. It's creepy, right? Instead, wait for someone to engage with you. So they comment on a post. When someone comments on a post, react to it. Now, I don't want you to click like. I don't want you to click the thumbs up button. I want you to click the love or the wow or the new care one, right? I don't care what it is, but I don't want you to just click the thumbs up, right? The like. Click, engage with a comment first with one of these, and then reply with a comment. So thanks, Steve. I really appreciate that. What is it that interested you in the piece? Or, thanks for supporting my work, whatever it is. But you need to reply to everybody and don't give a canned reply. Everybody needs a unique reply. Everybody. Okay. If you find that a lot more of your time is spent daily replying to emails and replying to comments on Facebook or on Instagram, that's a good thing. That means that what you're doing is working. One of the things I talked about earlier today, and I've certainly talked about this in the past, is setting your expectations. Your first year is not about selling, it's about building relationships, right? And building relationships will stay there forever. But that first year is all about those relationships, right? So if you're building relationships by reacting and commenting, replying to all those comments, replying personally to every single email, you can tell that what you're doing is working, right? It may not be putting money in your bank yet, but it will put money in your bank if you're consistent and you keep it up. Okay, so this is the best indicator for someone who isn't earning money yet, whether things are working or not. If people are reacting to your work, commenting on your work, right, and replying to your emails, then what you're doing is working. It just needs more time and more effort. Okay, and I can't be clearer on that. It's so, so important. Okay, so I've said this 100 times, I've said it 1,000 times. Relationships sell art. If you're not building a relationship with your audience, then you're not going to sell any work. And if your relationship isn't mature enough, right, they don't like you, they don't trust you yet, then they're not going to buy from you yet. They must know, like, and trust you. And in fact, as an artist, I think they might even need to love you a little bit, love you and your work, right? That's what sells art. There's no fancy tips, there's no fancy tricks or hacks that are going to get there quicker. It's relationships. Focus on the people. Don't focus on the numbers, focus on the people, focus on the quality of the relationships, because the quality of relationships is the thing that's going to make money for you. Okay. Focus on the people, not the numbers. Okay. There is no trick. The trick is doing it every day, every week, every month for a year or two. That's the only trick. And that's the problem that a lot of people face, is they don't want to do the trick. They don't want to put that effort in. They don't want to go through the hard yards for a year or two. They just want to get to the point where they're making $10,000 a month. That's cool. Right? I'd love to make $10,000 a month for doing nothing. It doesn't work that way. Right? If it worked that way, everybody would be doing it. So it's the long-term effort, the long-term consistent effort that pays off. Okay. Not tips and tricks and hacks. Absolutely not. Okay. So I'm just going to see if there's any questions that I've missed. Okay, Christy. Yeah, Christy, honestly, and you know, this is what you're saying is exactly why I'm doing today's webinar, right? There are so many people that have put in effort over the last year or even 18 months or 2 years that are feeling like that effort isn't paying off, then they're not going to ever sell, right? And conversely, I hear people that are a couple of months in that are like, well, I'm not making my $10,000 a month. What's going wrong? What have I done? Why I've failed? I've wasted all my money, right? It is the consistent long-term effort that makes the results, right? Only you can do that. You can't farm that out. You can't have someone do that consistent daily work on your behalf. It just doesn't work that way. Okay. You need to build a relationship with your audience. You need to share, you need to tell stories, you need to build, get people involved on a daily basis, okay, in your work, okay? So that's the thing that's going to pay off. Kelly, getting people to like your Facebook page. Okay, so I don't chase people liking your Facebook page. I think it's the worst thing that you can do from a marketing point of view is paying for likes or doing anything like that. So my tip on that is focus on building your email list. And the way we build email lists is using ads. And then you can grow your Facebook page in a free way using a hack that we use. You can basically invite anybody who engages with a post to like your page. Okay. And that's the way we encourage our clients to grow their email list. Okay. Let me just keep coming back. Yeah. So again, same thing, Dennis. You know the hack. Invite people, and don't focus on the growth of your email list. Sorry, don't focus on the growth of the Facebook page. It's not nearly as important as the growth of your email list. Okay. Okay. So right. So Steve's asked a really interesting question, and the answer to the question is both yes and no. Okay. So Steve's asked, because in Art Storefront's workshop today, they said running a monthly giveaway every month for several months will oversaturate your audience. What are my thoughts on this? Okay. So yes, the answer to that question is absolutely. If you use the methodology that Art Storefronts recommend for a print giveaway, then absolutely you're going to saturate your audience quicker than a couple of months, right? The thing is, we don't use the methodology that Art Storefronts recommend for growing your email list. We use paid ads to a cold audience. So these are people who are interested in work like yours, but have never heard of you, right? One person might see your ad once or twice ever in a year, right? Because what we're doing is targeting new people each time. We target an audience generally for our clients, somewhere between 15 and 30 million people. So the reality is that most people will never see the ad more than once. Some people will see it once or twice. So we're not saturating our existing audience, which is exactly what their methodology is, Steve. We're finding new people, because what we're trying to do is grow, and the best way to grow is to find new people, not the existing people. Okay. When you've got no audience, you've got to find people outside of your existing audience to grow. Okay. Yes, you ideally want to convert your customers into longer, into bigger customers and repeat customers and all of that, but you've got to have customers to start with to do that. And a lot of people don't have the customers, so we've got to find them. Okay. Carol, okay, so merchandise, I think you should have 1 or 2 merchandise items. I think they're a really good way to get people started on your art. They're a low point of entry, right? Something under $50, 1 or 2 things. You've got to have enough margin in it to be discounting. For us, we use calendars, right? But we print our own calendars. We have them designed by a designer, and we control the entire process. We don't use print on demand. We don't have options for print on demand here in Australia. So it's a bit different for us, but the reality is I think what you need to do is have 1 or 2 or even 3 merchandise items that you focus on, that you hang your hat on as a low point of entry for someone new, right? I think that's a really good technique, but I don't want it to be 500 different options in merchandise. Okay. So okay, so question about budget. How much do we spend on Facebook ads? How much do I recommend? Now, we have clients at the bottom end of the scale spending $100 a month, right? And that's actually less than what I would recommend. I would recommend you spend at least $150 a month. Top end of the scale, we recommend up to $300. I have a couple of clients, including Natalie's business, where we're spending $1,000 a month, right? Some are spending $500 or $600 a month. You got to do what you can afford, right? $150 a month is a good starting point for someone who hasn't got a lot of money to spend, but they want to grow their business. That's where I'd start. If you can afford to spend a bit more, then do. $300 is a really good middle point. But yeah, you do what you got to do. Yeah, Daniel's made a point about shares and groups. Honestly, we don't focus on shares and groups. They are important, but to me, there's a lot of work involved, and you've got to be really careful what you do and don't share. And like at the end of the day, a lot of those groups are also people who do the same thing. So you might be in a landscape photographers group, for instance, right? The other people in that group may not necessarily be customers. So we don't focus on that stuff. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to answer this last question, and then I'm going to move on to the end of. Oh God, it's an hour's gone already. Right. So curator strategy. Asked about it. I don't like it for two reasons. Okay. Number one, there's a huge amount of work involved. You might have to message 100 or 200 people to get one person to agree to do a giveaway for you using your curator strategy. Two, it's not consistent and it's not repeatable, right? So you might have one curator who's amazing and gets you 100 or 200 leads. You might have one curator who's useless and gets you one or none. We use ads to generate leads. And for the majority of people that we work with, we can get to the point where you're consistently generating somewhere between 250 and 500 leads a month, every month, right? Yes, you have to spend money on ads, but it means you're freeing up time to focus on the people. You shouldn't be focused on trying to find the people. You should be focused on building relationships with the people. And that's what we found is the most effective way to build your audience and to grow your business, by not focusing on finding the people, having that happen quietly in the background using ads, and instead focus on the relationships, okay? Because relationships sell art. All right, now we're running out of time, so I'm just going to finish up. Okay, so the summary: do a daily post on Facebook. If you have time, do Instagram, Pinterest, all of the other million things that you could possibly do. That's cool, but do Facebook first. Send an email to your audience at least every second week. Regardless of anything else, this is the most important activity you can do. Don't get distracted. Schedule your Facebook posts in advance so that you have time to do them and do them well. Right? Now, for those of you who've never worked with me before, we run a 90-day audience builder program. The idea behind that is simply to help you grow your list and give you the tools to continue to grow your list after we finish at the end of 90 days. Now, we're making two offers today. So first offer is, if you're a new client and you're not on Art Storefronts, then the discount is down $100. So you save $100 off our normal price, which is still saving money. So you pay $8.99 if you're not an Art Storefronts client. If you're on Art Storefronts, to get our 90-day program, you'll pay $6.99. Now there's a special offer I'm extending because it's a busy time of the year. And I know a lot of people don't want to go through the learning. They've got so many things on with family and friends over the next 3 months. So what we're doing is we're pushing back the learning. We're making it a 6-month program. So the first 3 or 4 months, we'll do everything for you. So we'll take it off your hands so that you don't have to think about it, right? If you want to join that program, it's 6 months. We will still give you the training, but we push the training back later. So it gives you the chance to focus on just letting the lead generation happen while you do other things, family things over Christmas, all that sort of stuff. So if you want to do that, if you're not on Art Storefronts, it's $1,249 for 6 months of support. If you're on Art Storefronts, it's $1,149 for 6 months of support. You're saving at least $1,000 off the total prices of these programs. So if you're interested, I'm going to share the links in an email and I'll pass that on. But if you want to sign up for that, I'm going to share you the link, and I'd love you to book a call. If you decide at the end of the call it's not for you, that's cool, okay? Because we have limited spots, and for those people who are interested, book a call. If you decide that the call's not at the end of the call, it's not for you, then it costs you nothing. It's just time. But I will share that offer right now, and yeah, if you're interested, book a call. So I'm just going to have a quick look. Once I've done this, I'm just trying to copy this into here. All right, let me just see if I have any further questions that I need to do. Okay, yes, it's time consuming. Oh, someone asked about the coupon code. Okay, so if you're running a sale, your website's doing the 20% off. Yes, you can turn it off, but if you use a coupon code rather than an automatic discount, then it doesn't matter because they can only use one coupon code at a time. So, you might be offering 25% off during your sale and they get offered the 20% coupon when they sign up. Doesn't really matter which one they use, you choose. I don't bother turning it off anymore. I used to do it. I haven't got time for that. Okay. Yeah, Carol, shoot me an email. I will do you a special deal. Absolutely. No problem. Ken, thank you. Okay. Thanks, guys. Any last minute questions, just let me know. I'm going to hang around for a moment or two, but I will follow up with an email. So you'll have the replay on Facebook and YouTube and the discount for the Black Friday special. I'm happy to offer the Black Friday special to past clients, and I will do a even better deal than that. So let me know. Okay, thank you guys. Have a lovely evening. I do appreciate you joining me in your afternoon or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And I apologize for running over time. You have a lovely day. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.